Kamala Harris was right about everything. Russia is giving information to Iran. Russia is giving information to Iran about U.S. warships, aircraft, other assets in the region. U.S. intelligence knows this. Kamala Harris said that these dictators would eat Trump for breakfast or for lunch, whatever. And MAGA laughed at her, and MAGA acted like their God King is this tough businessman who can strike deals with anyone. And Trump has always said Putin is that they have a good relationship, they're buddies, acting like he knows how to control him. No, it's the other way around. Putin knows how to control Trump, and he always has. And when Trump was asked about the U.S., when he was asked about Russia giving information to Iran, his response was, "What a stupid question." What a stupid question. Are we great yet, MAGA? Is this America first? Acknowledging that someone who is supposed to be an ally of the president, right? They're supposedly have a good relationship, according to Trump. Giving information to our enemy. Is this what you voted for? This the art of the deal?
And once again, Kamala Harris was right about everything. The former vice president warned the American people that Donald Trump would send the military after all of us. And we have seen it clear as day. He sent the National Guard to California. Now the National Guard is here in Washington, D.C., along with other federal agencies, walking around with rifles in hand as though they are in the streets of Baghdad. Next up on the list is Chicago. And Donald Trump is going a step further and creating a special task force within the National Guard that will do the work of what your day-to-day police officer should be doing. All under the disguise of controlling riots and reining in crime. Crime that is at an all-time low across the United States. And the interesting thing about all of this, he's only going after blue states, but completely overlooking the fact that many red states deal with crime also. Again, you just couldn't vote for the black woman, right?
Kamala Harris was right about everything.
He will target and punish those who disagree with him or refuse to bend to his will. He calls these Americans the enemy within and says that he would use the American military to go after American citizens. Journalists whose stories he doesn't like, nonpartisan election officials who refuse to cheat by finding a few extra votes for him, judges who insist on following the law instead of following him. It is for reasons like these that General Mark Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Donald Trump's top general, has called Trump, and I quote, fascist to the core. And it is clear Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged and will stop at nothing to claim unchecked power for himself.
The right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States.
For everyone who didn't believe Kamala when she said if you give him power back, he's going to turn into a dictator. For everyone who didn't listen to Kamala when she said look at his policies, they're going to make prices go up. Now you can take his word for it. Over the weekend, first he said on Friday, I couldn't care less if they raise prices. I couldn't care less. I hope they raise their prices. No, I couldn't care less. Talking about the effects of his tariffs and the inflation they'll bring. And then today, Sunday, Trump won't rule out seeking a third term in the White House. He tells NBC News there are methods for doing so. When asked to clarify, no, I'm not joking. Great.
Kamala said Putin would eat Trump for lunch, and ate he did today. She said Putin would be sitting in Kiev right now if Trump were president. And if you paid close attention to the summit, short press conference, no questions, no real outcomes, just Trump saying it was productive. For whom? Putin? This was honestly the weirdest, shortest, most controlled summit I've ever seen. Behind closed doors, who knows what deals or promises or whatever were whispered. The optics, terrifying. Putin was calm, Trump was not. I cannot count how many times that man thanked President Putin. We just had a preview of what happens when Putin calls the shots on national television. The American people are okay with this? History is watching, and it's terrifying to see Kamala's warning play out like a prophecy. Someone please tell me we're not about to find out what productive really meant.
The crazy thing to me is that, Trump is 80 years old. He is going to die soon. There is a very high likelihood, in fact, that he doesn't even make it all the way through his term. And yet, he is pillaging money like his life depends on it, as though he is going to have a chance to spend any of that stuff. There have been all of these reports coming out about the level of financial fraud that Trump and his family are engaging in. That over the last 2 years, Trump has made more money than the 60 years that came before that. Capital One just closed 300 bank accounts associated with Trump because they are engaging in money laundering. He is a war profiteer in the most literal sense of the word. He is selling access to his social media accounts. So not only does he profit off of the movement of the stock markets based on the Iran war and the stuff that he says about it, but he profits secondarily by helping other people also profit off of the same stock market manipulation. And it's like, this guy was already a millionaire the whole time. He is not going to be able to spend all of that money. He doesn't have time. This is the kind of perversion that capitalism engenders. You get to the end of your life at 80 years old, and instead of thinking about how you can leave the world a better place for future generations, you are instead totally preoccupied with stealing those futures in exchange for a couple more billions that you will never be able to spend. It is unbelievable. This economic system is a total failure.
You people that support Trump, you've got to be kidding me, right? I mean, how in the world can you look at yourself in the mirror and actually be like, oh, this is a great idea. I think we're going to keep supporting a man who doesn't care about anything, who doesn't care about the state of this country, who doesn't care about a damn thing that we have going on. But, oh, better yet, he's going to care about everybody else's situation, and he's going to sit here and give billions of dollars to other countries, but he can't help the Americans that are actually struggling in this country. I mean, I've said this time and time again. We've got veterans on the streets here that are struggling, that has served this country, that can't get any help. But, oh, let's give another $50 billion to Iran. Let's give another $50 billion to Israel. And Israel don't give a shit about us no ways. They've put spies in on this country. They've not helped us not one bit. But, oh, no, Donald Trump has to keep all these people happy. So when he leaves office, he's got all these foreign leaders that he's still buddies with, so he can still be making billions, just like his crypto business. His crypto business is getting ready to be investigated by the FCC because there's some shady business going on here. But, oh, no, we're going to still hell to Donald Trump. Let's just bow down to him. And that's what these Trump supporters do, and it is sickening. And it's time for you to look in the mirror and realize who you are and why you're voting for somebody like that, and do something about it and do something better, because you see this country is drowning at a rapid rate.
I am unfortunately absolutely a Kamala count truther. Especially when I get elevated, because the fuck, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense, and I'm sad. I want that we won to be the truth. But I just think it's so funny that the Kamala count truthers are so different from the fucking Trump truthers in 2020. Because the Trump truthers, right? QAnon bullshit. They stormed the fucking Capitol in response. They were crazy. But then, the Kamala account truthers are just on TikTok hey guys, so, things are a little weird, right? I don't want to be too conspiratorial. I don't want to be, like Trumpers in 2020, but there were very clear, obvious signs of voter suppression right in our fucking face. But I don't want to be like mean. I just think like maybe something horrible happened to our country on a collective scale, and we should do something about it if it's not too much trouble. Like that's exactly how we are. Oh my god, we're such fucking millennials. We have PTSD from 2016.
Nothing irritates me more than when people say that Trump had a good economy, because that's not true. Obama spent his entire presidency rebuilding our economy and handed it over to Trump on a silver platter, and all that guy had to do was maintain. He did not have a good economy. He was given a good economy. He was given all the tools to succeed, and it still did not happen. We are currently living under his tax administration because it does not expire until the end of 2025. So no, Trump is not some master economist. He's just really good at taking what other people have and making it seem like his own.
In 2016, you would have labeled me as a never Trumper, and I was. I was very outspoken at the time against Donald Trump. I found him to be very crude. I had a major problem with his moral shortcomings, and I just didn't understand why people would follow this man. In fact, when it came time to vote, I wrote in another candidate. However, now in 2024, I will be voting for Donald J. Trump. You say, why have you changed? What has changed your mind over that time period? One thing is record. So Donald Trump still says a lot of stupid stuff. I'll be the first to admit that. He tweets some things, says some things that just make me cringe. But I'm more concerned about what a person does compared to what they say. We've had a lot of politicians that say all the right things, but they don't do any of those things. During Donald Trump's presidency, we had a better economy. You can argue that all you want. The Democrats have been in power 12 of the last 16 years, and the economy's been terrible under their leadership. The 4 years when we had a Republican, it was good. And we didn't have any wars under Donald Trump. By the way, we can compare that to the other candidate, who we also have their record. It just baffles my mind. Everybody says this is what she's going to do and the change she's going to make. She's in power right now. We can compare record to record. And I'll tell you, I'll take Donald Trump's record any day of the week over what we've had the past 3.5 years under Biden and Harris. It's been absolutely abysmal. And to be truthful, I'm voting against some things. I am totally against censorship. You would think in the United States of America, we would hold tightly to the freedom of speech and understand that dictatorships take place under censorship and under controlling of speech. And that's exactly what's been happening or attempting to be happening under the Biden-Harris administration. And they're going to continue to do that. It came out, Mark Zuckerberg admitted, and he's not a conservative, that he was pressured by the Biden-Harris administration to censor vital information. Every single American should be strongly against censorship in any form or fashion. I'm voting against a tax on democracy. It's amazing that they say that voting Donald Trump in democratically, correctly, is somehow going to hurt democracy. But what they've done is they conducted a coup, and then they just said, this is your candidate, and place somebody in that position without a single vote. That is what you should be fearful of. I'm voting against the people that have literally come out and said, you will own nothing and be happy about it. You know who all those people are and who they support and who they put their money behind? It's not the Republican Party. The Democrats are now a machine. And the person that they run, they trot out there as their candidate is not actually the president of the United States. I mean, you ought to sue your brain for non-support if you think that Joe Biden has been the president for the last 3.5 years. He's just a figurehead. And that's the same thing that Kamala Harris will be. You say, well, why did they choose her? Because, let's be honest, the color of her skin and her gender. And they think that you're foolish enough, and it seems to be true because I scroll through TikTok too, that some of y'all are ignorant enough to vote for somebody based solely on the color of their skin and their gender.
and totally overlook the fact that they're trying to take away your First Amendment right, your Second Amendment right, the fact that they're trying to censor you, the fact that they're going to tell you this is your candidate and you don't even get to vote, and you'll be okay with all of that because, woohoo, we got the first woman president. Surely you're not that ignorant. I'm also voting against the weaponization of our justice system. It should scare you to death that they use the justice system to try to do away with and get rid of and overtake a political opponent. And some of you are ignorant enough to use that in your little arguments on social media. Well, he's a convicted felon. Everyone knew that they were going to find him guilty. And if you just look at it with an honest heart, rational, bipartisan, you'll understand that those charges are phony and that was not a fair trial. And again, this is coming from somebody that I couldn't stand Donald Trump. But that scares me to death because it's him today who's going to say, if I say something that goes against their political beliefs and what they're trying to do politically, that it won't be me tomorrow. So for these reasons and many others is why I'm voting for Donald J. Trump this election cycle in November.
Hold up. Let me get this right. You forgive him. You forgive Donald Trump. You hold space and grace in your heart for the things he says and the things he does and the person he is. You forgive him. There isn't a soundbite or a testimony that can come out that would make you change the permission you've already given this man to be himself. You forgive him. It could be rape. It has been rape, and you forgive him. It could be racist. It has been racist, and you forgive him. It could be some of the most negative and unnecessarily insulting and vile and irresponsible and irrational and unlawful behavior, and you forgive it because you forgive him. And I think you forgive him because I think he excuses you. I think he gives you permission to love the parts of yourself that should and need to change. I think he gives you permission to love the parts of yourself that are hateful and bigoted and oppressive and close-minded. I think he gives you permission to love these things because he is these things. And he is these things loudly and proudly in front of everyone. And if he can do that there, you can do that at your table or in your community, at your kids' soccer games or in your Walmarts or in your churches. You can too be hateful and bigoted and oppressive and small-minded. He represents you. He represents those things within you, so you forgive him. He hates the same people you hate, not because they're dangerous or bad, but because they look, love, and live different than you. And the fact that he gets to hate them out loud makes you feel so comfortable hating them inside, so you forgive him. And that makes it really hard to forgive you.